Yo, what is going on, guys? Serious here. In today's video, we are going to be starting the 9th part in the GSC scripting series. If you haven't watched previous videos, go ahead and do so because you're going to need the code from those videos for today. You're also going to need the latest version of my GSC utility, so go ahead and grab that from the description below. Today's video is going to be about the options in our menu. We're going to basically make the options actually do things. And I don't know if you remember from the very beginning of the series, but we had some things, a God mode toggle and an infinite ammo toggle, and we're actually going to go ahead and incorporate those into our menu finally, so we have working options. So the first thing we need to do for the options to work is we need to have some way to activate an option. We're basically just going to add a button bind here. So let's go ahead and do if self is button press button. Let me go ahead and re-add that parentheses. We'll do SL buttons use. If you are not familiar with this, because we haven't done this in a while, remember it's in the utility. You have all of the available buttons here. I'm going to use the use button, which is like square on PS3. I don't know what it is on Xbox, and it's like F on PC. Then we're going to add our brackets and write a call to self select. Select is a function we haven't written yet, but we're going to go ahead and write that today as well. While self is button pressed, SL buttons used. This is to keep it from pressing it over and over and over again while we hold the button down. Wait 0.025. And then we will continue and skip all the code below this because we don't want to go outside of this if statement. All right. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and implement the select method. We're going to put it right here because this is going to probably be one of the last things that's added to this function, and I feel like its place is right here. Select cursor equals self get cursor. Go ahead and use the default options for the menu. And menu equals self.submenu. Okay. So this is basically saying that this is going to, by default, set cursor to our current cursor, and it's going to, by default, use the menu specified here. And actually, what I'm going to go ahead and do is remove this and do a better way of doing it. If not is defined cursor equals self get cursor menu. This is due to the fact that this may actually be changed, and we need this to be set up after this is initialized. Okay, so next let's do option equals self get option. Let's go ahead and change these parameters to be cursor and menu. This is going to get the option at the index we requested. If not, then add some parentheses because we're going to make a more complicated expression here. Is defined option and is defined option.f. If you remember, .f is the function that we are going to be calling for this option. Return. And let's go ahead and add a comment here saying can't execute an undefined option. This is because if the option or the function the option wants us to call doesn't exist, obviously we can't call it. A equals option.a. This is going to be the arguments. If not is defined, A equals, and then an empty array. This is because the array needs to exist for the call that we're about to do. If you don't remember what an array is just a list of things, and in this case it's going to be our arguments for the function or the parameters. Self thread option.f, meaning this syntax is probably new. I don't think we've used this yet. This syntax basically means to take this, whatever the value is here, and call it like it's a function. So for example, if we had our God mode toggle as the function, it would actually call the God mode function like if it was assigned to this variable. So this basically lets you use a variable like a function, and it's really, really useful. So then we're going to put our parameters A0, A1, A2, A3, A4. This is using this array that we have and getting the first element, second element, third, fourth, and fifth element. Remember, we only can support up to 5 arguments. And if you are a programmer outside of GSC, you're probably thinking, well, what if these elements don't exist? Won't we get an index out of bounds exception? And that is not true in GSC. GSC doesn't care and will just make this an undefined variable, which is good for us because not every function is going to use all of these arguments. Okay, so that looks good to me. This select should now work correctly. We're going to go ahead and add something to test it with. Let's go ahead and get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. We're going to be adding actual real options. Add option. We're going to add it to the main menu for now because we don't have submenus yet. God mode is going to be the option. And we are going to put 2 colons. These are used to basically say we want to reference a function. God mode toggle. And then we need our semicolon. So if you remember, I was saying how that syntax down here, option.f with these 2 brackets on each side, is going to call it like it's a function. Right here, if you remember, this is passing a reference to this function. Our function is God mode toggle down here. It's taking this function and setting it to the f variable right here when we add option. You see it's this parameter. It's setting it to option.f, and then we're literally calling it like a function up here and passing no parameters because we don't have any parameters. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of complicated, but it is going to be the foundation of how a menu base actually works, so it's really important that you understand it. Let's go ahead and add a new script to this GSC. Let's go ahead and do functions.gsc. This is where you'll want to put the majority of your functions for your base. You don't have to do this, but it is generally best to keep this stuff separate from the base code because if your GSC script gets too big in one file, it'll be really hard to manage. Go ahead and cut the God mode toggle function and paste it into the functions.gsc. And let's go ahead and take this part right here, cut that, delete this, and paste it back in. That's going to allow us to just do the toggle. If you remember, we had, actually, I'm sorry, this is actually wrong. Let's go ahead and take that out and paste that in. That is because we don't need the button bind anymore because we are calling this from the menu. So we can just toggle the option and do whatever the actual function is. Let's go ahead and check our syntax. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and compile and inject. All right, looks good to go. Hopefully we don't freeze. Let me go ahead and double check this. Looks good. And when we open the menu, we should have one option, and this option should be God mode. And it seems like we do. Let's go ahead and press the use button, which is F on the keyboard, to see what happens. And it says we are in God mode, and we are no longer in God mode. So let's go ahead and enable God mode and hold a grenade and try to kill ourselves. And we're good to go. We're not dead. Let's disable God mode. That should kill us. Oh, it didn't because I'm not we did take damage, but it wasn't enough damage to kill me. I don't feel like going and finding a way to kill myself, so we're just going to go ahead and end the game and come back with infinite ammo. Let's go back into our options.gsc and go ahead and add infinite ammo. I'm just going to copy this and paste it, and then I'm going to change the text to say infinite ammo and change this to infinite ammo toggle. We'll go ahead and go back to our main GSC, take these 2 functions, cut them, and clean up the bottom of this, and paste them into functions.gsc. Then we're going to take this code right here. If you remember, we don't need our bind code anymore. Delete that, paste that back in, and now we have our toggle for infinite ammo. If you don't recognize this code, I don't know why, but you can get it in the 2nd or 3rd video in the series. This code was written as an example on how to do some toggles. Alright, everything looks good. Let's check the syntax. Syntax looks fine. Let's go ahead and inject. Project injected. Let's go ahead and start. Okay. And let's open the menu and check our infinite ammo out. I'm going to press F, says I have infinite ammo, and when I shoot, we are good to go. As you can see, the menu keeps toggling, but I can just close it and we'll be fine. And yeah, there we go. We have infinite ammo, and like I said, we'll go ahead and make sure that our God mode toggle is working correctly. So I'll enable God mode, try to kill myself. I don't die. Okay, let's go ahead and disable God mode and hold a grenade. I should die this time. And I died. And when we spawn back in, we still have our menu working, which is good. And we still have our infinite ammo because we haven't disabled it. Now I no longer have infinite ammo, and when I shoot, my ammo actually depletes. Alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions. I know that it's kind of a quick video today, but we have our working options. In the next video, we're probably going to work on adding submenus. Anyway, like I said, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like. Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.